Well, thank you very much. The next item is under the control and direction of Dr. Stacy Battery, our Director of Learning Services, Executive Director of Learning Services. This is 2013-2014 TCAP results.
Yes, good evening, President DeWitt, Acting Superintendent Eads, and members of the school board. Tonight I bring to you the 2014 TCAP data now that the embargo has officially been lifted. For your information, I will share with you some of the highlights over the past year, as well as areas that we are addressing and going to work on toward improvement throughout the coming year. This chart you've seen, it shows the results in 2014 as the last green bar, and it actually depicts the trends over time from 2006 to 2014. 2006 was the year that the district was placed on academic watch for low performance. And at that time, there were actually hundreds fewer students within the district. There was less diversity, less poverty, and lower scores. That's the first bar that you see overall. With an increase of our overall student population, as well as in demographics of free and reduced lunch status and diversity in our ethnicity, we have seen an overall increase of achievement in grades 3 through 10. These are aggregated, 3 through 10 in reading, 3 through 10 in math, and 3 through 10 in writing. We've seen some achievement gains in reading. We had considerable gain in 2010. There were some factors that more external, a few internal, and it changed some of the ways in which our folks taught reading instruction, and so we've really had to work as a system to get better at that work in reading. Still have some work to do. You can see some considerable achievement in math over the years, and they've worked hard to continue to make gains in that area. And then you do see an overall decrease, actually a decline, doing well up till 2009. Some changes in writing instruction. This actually has paralleled the state, is primarily citing the writing expectations have changed pretty dramatically, and that has caused quite a bit of the changes, in particular in the last 3 years with the advent of the new standards. So just overall, our 2014 results, fairly stable when you look at it and you aggregate those together. You can actually see that we have either improved or maintained in 13 out of 24 content or grade level areas, with 10 of those improving, 3 maintaining, and 11 declining. So pretty stable, not a lot of change up or down. And in fact, 0.5% decrease overall in reading from last year to this year, up 1% in math, and then down 0.9% in writing. So relatively flat. A few of our highlights, however, really you can overall see, and this has just kind of been the theme of the year as our teachers and our principals have looked at this. We've seen most of our highlights reflected in the continual increase of achievement in math, and we had some all-time high scores once again in math this year, in 3rd grade math, 7th grade math, 8th grade, and 9th grade. We also saw for the 3rd year in a row some fairly high advanced scores of advanced rather in math. And so once again, 24% advanced in 3rd grade math, and I just want to do a shout out to McAuliffe, who had 56% advanced in their math scores in 3rd grade, Chapelot, who had 50%, Frontier also had 50%, and Winograd had 48%. So that's their percentage of students that scored in the advanced range in 3rd grade math. 4th grade had 22% as a district, and again a shout out to Chapelot, who had 45%, Frontier also had 45%, and McAuliffe at 44% advanced scores in 4th grade math. And as you can see, 5th grade math at 17% of our students overall in 5th grade scored in the advanced level. And again, Chapelot, 30% of their students in 5th grade math scored in the advanced category. Frontier had 46%, McAuliffe had 32%, and Montfort had 31% of their students score in 5th grade math at the advanced. So they're doing some good work, continual good work. There is notable achievement as well in some of our schools, and who posted some double-digit gains in various content areas. Now, keep in mind these are over, scores from last year to this year. These are schools who are looking at really not only making those kinds of gains, but then sustaining those gains and keeping that going. So that's their work before them. We had 16 schools post double-digit gains in reading. That included Centennial, Hyman, University, Chapelo, Dos Rios, Jackson, Madison, Meeker, Montfort, Scott, Frontier, Westridge, Winograd, and Engage. 13 of our schools did post double-digit gains in writing. Even with our decline overall, there were still some schools, so we want to continue to look and see what did they do, how did they do that work, and what did that look like as we work on that as a district. And the 13 schools were Centennial, Westridge, McCullough, Chapelo, Dos Rios, East Memorial, Meeker, Romero, Winograd, and Winograd. Those were the schools who did that. Westridge actually had posted that in 3 different areas, so we're proud of their work as well. Oh, and University, and University did that in writing. And 18 schools actually posted double-digit gains in math, and those schools are Centennial, Hyman, Madison, Westridge, Chapelo, Dos Rios, Winograd, Madison, Brentwood, University, and Union Colony. And then not only do we look at schools that are posting those double-digit increases in their proficiency in advanced, but we also very much want to look at and look into the schools who are having those double-digit decreases in the unsatisfactory, because we know that if students score in the unsatisfactory range, their likelihood of coming out of that decreases significantly. And so every time we can decrease the number of students that are in unsatisfactory, our schools are doing some good work that we want to be able to celebrate, think about what are they doing, and mimic that across the system and learn from that. And so 5 of our schools did that in reading, and that was Centennial, East Memorial, Hyman, Westridge, and John Evans. So we're proud of the work they did. 2 of our schools did it in writing, and that is at Meeker and Madison at 4th grade and then 5th grade respectively. And then 10 of our schools actually, not only did we see some significant proficient and advanced, some advanced scores, but also 10 of our schools decreased that unsatisfactory. So you can see the work that they're doing is really moving kids over, more and more kids into proficient and advanced and out of unsatisfactory. And that is Madison, Union Colony, Westridge, Chapelo, Dos Rios, Meeker, and Brentwood all posted those gains, if you will, by decreasing those unsatisfactory scores. So one of the things that we know is that TCAP actually, what I've shared with you thus far is the results from last year to this year. And those are different students that are really comparing those scores. It is one way to look at the data. It's certainly a way that the state looks at the data, and so we do as well. But not only are we looking at those achievement gains, we're also looking at growth gains. When I was able to share this with you earlier, I did not have the growth results. And so since then, I've actually, that has also come out. Those always lag behind the achievement scores that come out. The growth results are later. So I want to just share a little bit with you on growth. What I will share with you is the median growth percentile. That's the middle, which is a summary of the student growth. The median is calculated by taking the individual student growth percentiles of all the students in that group that are being analyzed, ordering them from lowest to highest, and then identifying the middle score, the median. So if the median is, say, 25, then that would mean half of the students were above 25 in growth, and the other half were under the 25 in growth. And so not that you can see in that example, not what we'd want to see. We'd want to see that number push higher than that. So as you can see, really in the last 3 years is when the state has been calculating growth. They can calculate it clear back to 2009, but the state didn't start doing this and pulling it into accreditation until in the last 3 years. So you can see that we're at 47 median growth percentile this year. That means, again, in reading, That means that our students are, half of our students are growing at a rate higher than that, and the other half are below the 47 growth percentile. Better, the last 2 years it's been at 45, and we're kind of holding that steady in growth, and so it's good. We want to keep seeing that move up. When you think about the significant number, we have over 10,000 students that are actually in this number, which is important to know. There's a lot of students, because this is aggregating all of that 3 through 10 grades in reading. In writing, we've also saw a bit of a bump from last year, another 2% in the median growth percentile. So we're getting there. We need to get over, we want to get well over the 50 in growth, so we want to really look into that a little bit more closely and see, both in reading and writing, how we can continue to see growth in our students and get that to a much higher median growth percentile each year. In math, we were pretty unhappy with where we were, and 41 is not okay, and you can see that's where we were in 2012. Since then, we've made 3 percentile growth each year in 2013 and 2014. So what's nice is that we've not only seen achievement gains go up in math, but we've also seen the median growth percentile go up. So you can see a general upward trend in math. So we want to make sure that what we're looking at is building on the kinds of things that are working in schools, that are working for students. And so just different factors that over time we've identified in really supporting that growth. We hear time and time again that the alignment of the systems, the continual annual review of that work is critical to the work that our teachers do. If they had to do that on their own each and every day for every lesson, that's just a lot of work for people to do, and they know that when they come together over those summer months. So just continually refining that and thinking about what are the targets and how do they meet that has definitely supported the growth. And as the expectations have changed, this too is changing the work that they do, and so really needing to continue to keep an eye on that. The data team focus is also something, and tomorrow afternoon we'll actually see some of this in action as it works with the facilitated planning. So really looking at what the data is telling them at the teacher, and student level for each of their teachers. That really has made a significant difference in the work that many of our teachers and principals talk about as they work for student achievement. There have been many different middle school reform efforts that have gone on. Still work to do, of course, and we're seeing some growth in the middle level, as you can see, but it's still some work that needs to be done as we continue in that area. I think clearly you can see the significant, particularly in math, number decreasing in the unsatisfactory scores. Those intervention programs, that was a pretty upside down triangle, meaning there were way more students below proficiency in math year after year. And so really working to get intervention programs and structures in place to support our students, as well as for our English language learners in reading and teaching some of the things that they were missing and working on. So that actually has been a very positive. We've also had many different systems of support. Just recently, in fact, getting an email from a principal at the middle level whose growth was a nice, although the achievement was not where she wanted it, the growth told a much different picture, and she was very delighted when she saw that. And just that, that the systems of support really working that, and they were pleased to see that because they had a lot of challenges. So working that system, and then clearly, none of these things can be done if you don't have incredibly talented, dedicated, and highly skilled teachers, principals, and leaders across the system. And they know how to work all of that to make that work for students. So as we think, though, this is, TCAP is no more, and CMAS is the new. TCAP, we know is that CSAP to TCAP, the Transitional Colorado Assessment Program. We know that the standards were assessed on those tests, and they are no more. There will be no more standards assessed on the old model content standards. So as such, assessments have replaced them. The assessment expectations and the benchmarking systems will be put into place as we fully move into this new standards and assessment era. The Colorado Measures of Academic Success, that's what CMAS stands for now, is the new state assessment program. And our teachers, our principals, our central office leaders are working together in order to prepare our students in the best ways possible to support student learning toward these expected outcomes. So we've talked about change. We've talked about the fact that, that it isn't the way, the expectations are not what they used to be, that the instruction has to look different, and people are really coming together to say, what does that look like and how can we do that? I think our data this year, albeit showing some gains in math, we want to continue to see some more significant gains in math because we're not where we want to be yet, and we certainly want to see some different upward nice trends in our reading and in our writing. And so we want to look at that in terms of conducting an elementary and secondary literacy task force. We need to look a little more deeply at what are those standards. That will be a task force conducted with a cross-section of our principals, teacher leaders, a couple of our coaches in those areas, and a few central office leaders in those areas of literacy to really look deeply at what do the expectations in those standards call for, and how does that, what kind of resources might we need differently? Do we have everything we need and we just need to now teach in different ways, and what does that look like? So that we can really have almost a call to action around literacy in District 6 and what does that look like? How does that need to look different? So I'm anxious to get started on that. We will start that here in this month of September. And if any recommendations need to come forward, of course, that would go through our District Curriculum Council as another group, and then come before the board if there are recommendations that they would like to make. We also have had principals request some very targeted assistance, looking at their data, saying this is what I feel like I need in order to do this work with the students at my school. And so we are working to provide that targeted and requested technical assistance and support visits. If they don't want any additional assistance, if they don't want that technical support from anybody, then, and they're on that right track, continue to go and they'll move in group. But if they would like additional support, we're really being thoughtful about what does that look like, how often, when do they want that, and what do they want the focus to be. We're also providing continual coaching support. We have new teachers that need that additional support. No more the days where they can, a new teacher can take about 5 years to try to figure it out and that kind of thing. There's so much that is demanded upon our teachers in order to get up and going very quickly and be a veteran in a matter of months. And so the coaching support in math and literacy, as well as social studies and science, will continue to help support them, as well as all of our teachers, primarily with the new math and language arts, social studies and science standards. It seems like many of us feel like we're at zero again with our learning and our understanding. We will continue to provide coaching support to leadership with the data team process for those that have requested that. We've had several people request support to just get really good at that because they know, as I said before, that's helping them. They want to get better at it. They want to just really make sure that they're doing the very best with their teachers when they get together to look at data. So how can they do that and refine those processes? And then we're in year 2 of really implementing and monitoring that English language development structures and support systems across the entire system. With over 5,000 students that are English language learners in our district, we really want to make sure that we're doing the very best work for them. And so we know that there are still some achievement gaps. We know that we still have some work to do. So we made some gains, but again, gains are good, but we need to continue to move forward and close those gaps. So that will continue into this year and really refine that work. So that is what I have for you. Wanted to be able to share a little bit of that work with you and show a little bit of the growth. And if you have any questions at this time, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you.